just with a quick introduction, my name is Cathy Simpson. I'm a certified Scrum trainer and a passionate Agilist. I teach classes for Braintrust and coach and hopefully make a difference in the Agile world. So that is enough about me. I have Kate, who will say a few words.
Hey everyone, I'm Kate. I'm the president of the Braintrust Consulting Group, also a certified Scrum trainer and coach. And I am here today as Cathy's trusty sidekick. So I'm hoping to not say too much. That'll be an interesting thought for everyone.
That would be, yes, I like that. And then we also have Caden, who's our facilitator.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm Cathy's facilitator. I'll be putting links in chat and putting you in the breakout room. So looking forward to meet all you.
Excellent. And we might have a few more people from Braintrust here. So if you are a Braintrust person, can you raise your hand and introduce yourself?
I will go. My name's Scott Dunbar. I'm one of the Agile advisors for Braintrust. I handle primarily the Midwest. Yes, I'm here today to be a sidekick to Kate being a sidekick to a sidekick. But I do cover the Midwest and I have a couple of colleagues who I don't think are on, Kristen and Allison, who Kristen covers the East Coast and Allison primarily covers the West, but we are all—
I'm actually here, Scott, too.
All Braintrust. Oh, hi, Allison. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'll let you introduce yourself, but glad to have everyone here today.
Thanks. Yeah, my name is Allison Bowers. I am an Agile advisor for our West Coast clients, and I'm here to listen and contribute if it makes sense, but mostly just here to learn with you all.
All right, let's go. So we have here, this is just an overview of the Scrum Alliance path, right? Way back in the day, about in the Stone Age when I did the CSM, there wasn't all of these classes. Over time, what's become clear is that, you know, to be a really good anything, probably a 2-day class isn't going to do it for you. So with lots of requests over time, the Scrum Alliance started to, with the help of trainers, create additional classes. So now there's literally entry-level classes, advanced classes, and professional level classes for, you know, Scrum Master, product owner, developers. So they're working on that developer, advanced and professional. And then in addition, at some point, everyone realized we probably should talk to executives and management about what it takes to lead an Agile organization. So now there's certified Agile leadership classes. So we'll make this deck available just to give you an idea of what's possible. And then just to give you an idea of what's possible in Braintrust, we offer all of those classes. And in addition, what might be useful for you is the free webinars like this. We also record them. So you can, because you have to, you know, maintain your SEUs, and we do private work and coaching as well. So just full service Agile organization for you. All right, that is enough of that. So we want to, this webinar came out of preparing for a webinar I did last month called "Do We Even Need a Scrum Master?" For some of you, that might be like, duh, that's kind of how it was for us. But we realized that if you look around in business, some of you might be in companies where there's a sense that we don't need Scrum Masters. So we did a whole session on that. And what we ended up finding out, did I miss something? Wait, oh, did I miss the team, Kate?
This is the team creation
I'm
one.
sorry, I'm like, sometimes I get a little like ahead of myself. So you must have been going, what is she talking about? All right, back up, rewind. So we are going to do some exercises. You know, Braintrust, we love hands-on exercises and we use Mural in our classes. Some of you might have heard of Mural. Some of you might not have heard of Mural. It's a giant whiteboard and it really is tremendous for allowing online collaboration, which, you know, is way better than maybe just talking on the phone. So we are going to do some group work in Mural, but we really want to have a sense of, are there people in this group who have some experience with Mural? Because there can be a little learning curve and we don't want to spend all the time getting people up to speed on Mural. So could you raise your hand with a little icon in your picture if you have some experience with Mural? And I'm just going to wait a moment for that to happen.
Yes, so for anyone who's not found the button, it's the reactions button on the toolbar. And if you click on that, you should get this pop-up menu. Okay, and then Caden should be able to pull everyone who has their hands up from there and start the team formation as Cathy takes us into the content.
Okay, awesome. So now we're gonna like go forward to where I started talking about before, right? This idea, do we even need a Scrum Master? And if so, what kind of Scrum Master do we need? So to do that, I want to do a little refresher about what is it that, you know, when we say Scrum Master, we mean. So we got some parts of the Scrum Guide here, right? And so we'll just go through, I'll just like kind of do a quick overview, right? The Scrum Master is accountable for establishing Scrum as defined in the Scrum Guide, right? So it means we got to know what the Scrum Guide says, and they're going to help everybody understand that. Next, they're accountable for the Scrum team's effectiveness. This is new in the 2020 Scrum Guide. It does not mean for me that they are now on the hook for everything getting done on time under budget. It means rather that if I look at what's effectiveness, am I helping the team be productive? Am I helping the org maximize the benefit of using Scrum, right? And there's something that might, you know, like I have some skin in the game. And then they say they're true leaders who serve the Scrum team and the larger organization. A couple more things. They really are trying to create an environment of collaboration, right? And they're going to use their skills to do that. They're a facilitator, a coach, a trainer, and a mentor, right? All of those things. And then they're aware of the entire system and they help everyone increase productivity. So one of the things that was interesting in the last webinars, we did a survey. So we did a survey based on those 3 areas. And was really interesting. What we found out was that many people had no idea that a Scrum Master did all of those things. Really beyond working with the team, many people, right? And certainly working with the org, they were like, what? I'm accountable for that? So that, you know, was an interesting thing to kind of look at. From that, and with some work with clients, we wanted to see what did people think were the key benefits of having a Scrum Master? So we looked at removing roadblocks and allowing teams to focus on, you know, major increases in productivity because they could focus. Creating real transparency so that the business actually had a real-time view of what was happening and could make important decisions based on that. Reducing burnout by having people work sustainably and still delivering. Coaching teams on what to measure and how to measure, like meaningful metrics rather than, you know, we'll just try to measure velocity and that'll give us an idea of how people are doing. And then improving the culture, communication and consistency, and finally, Scrum best practices shared across the whole organization. Now, I'm sure if I asked you, you could put in chat a whole bunch more benefits, but that was kind of what we came up with in that last webinar. Through that, it became clear that how do you get that person, right? It's not a one-stop shop, right? We got to figure out how we can get that kind of Scrum Master, a really effective Scrum Master. So then we thought, do we build that Scrum Master? Do we buy that Scrum Master? Do we borrow that Scrum Master? So we developed this flow chart, which we thought is kind of cute. Do we need a Scrum Master? Now, for most of us, the answer is yes. And then sometimes the answer is no, but I don't know if you can really read it so well, but our cute little pig is like, heck yeah, you need a Scrum Master, right? So sometimes people don't think they do, but they probably still do. So if we determine we need a Scrum Master and everyone's on board with that, we can first ask ourselves, do we have someone internally? Is there someone who could fit this bill? Right? If we think we do, then we got to ask a few more questions. Do they want it? Do they get it? Do they have the experience? For the experience, we could use that Scrum Master action plan that we developed, kind of looking at each of the 3 areas and, you know, how are the team, how's the product owner, how's the organization doing? We could look at their experience. Let's say we have someone like that. Well, happy days. Let's say we have someone and we think they have the Agile mindset and they want it. They don't necessarily have the experience. Then we could think about building, right? So we'll talk about each of these things, right? Building means we're going to like, homegrown, we're going to train, develop a Scrum Master. But let's say we don't have someone internally who can do that, either because they don't really want to, or there's just not a person. And then we could ask, do we have budget for a full-time Scrum Master, which would be ideal. And if we do, we could say, how quickly do we need them? Do we have some lead time to do like proper vetting and go through a whole interview, whole process and get candidates and interview them and all of that? If that's true, then we might say, let's create a full-time position. We're going to buy that Scrum Master. And then we got to get into, how do we find that kind of person? What kind of job description do we create? How do we do an interview process that's really going to help us determine that we're going to find someone who actually meets the bill? If we need someone immediately, we might go to borrow. And here we might look at hiring an Agile coach, hiring a contract Scrum Master for 3 to 6 months but at that point, we're probably going to look at speeding up the process of getting the person, right? And there's a number of ways we can do that. Now, let's say we don't have budget for full-time, but we can go, okay, we can get a short-term person. Maybe it's a proof of concept, right? Then we're going to go with that borrow mechanism and and we'll talk about that. And then finally, what if there's no budget and we have nothing, right? We definitely, that's a plausible possibility for many, many companies. So we want to then go to work at ensuring that management understands what Scrum Masters do and the cost benefit of having Scrum Masters. And then our fun, cheeky little, Scrum Master Piggy who says, call Braintrust. We will talk to your company for you and explain to them in no uncertain terms why they for sure need Scrum Masters. All right, so we're going to dive into each one of those areas and then we're going to, of course, put you to work because we like doing that. So let's talk about build, right? Building, we're going to build with training and, right, there's different levels of the training, as I kind of mentioned, and mentoring and coaching and experience over time. One of the ways we'll determine that is, do they have the skills and knowledge already? Like what skills and knowledge do they have? But we need to understand what we want. So this Scrum Master action plan, which Kate is we have it on the Mural. And Kate, did you say you would put it in the chat for them as well?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put it in chat now.
This was we kind of took a look at the checklists that were out there and the new Scrum guide and kind of look at, what could some of the things that would be important for people as Scrum Masters to think about regarding their team, their product owner, and their organization. So kind of stepping off from like Michael James Scrum Master checklist and some of the other things we found, we created this. So this is what we want to make sure people had, right? Before we decided what we needed to do with them. And maybe they had part of this. Maybe they really get the Scrum Master part and we have to plan for developing how they operate with product owners and how they're going to operate with the organization. Just to give you a little sense, right? And again, you could see maybe I should have a hat that says sales. There's 3 levels of that Scrum Master trainings, right? Via the Scrum Alliance. But I think what's really imperative is that we think of the Scrum Master as evolutionary. It's not, you don't do a 2-day class and you're like an instant Scrum Master, like just add water and that's it. That's just the start. You learn from your experience and learning new tools, concepts, and like your passion for doing that. You're inspecting and adapting yourself like all the time. So in the first class, it's all about the basics, right? You got to get what Scrum is, what does a Scrum Master do? In the advanced class, it's much deeper into facilitation and coaching, which are so essential for effective Scrum Masters. And working with the PO, it requires a year of experience, which again is essential, not just that you're getting theoretical knowledge, but you're applying it, because that's where you really integrate it. And then the professional level class is really all about deep dive into lean thinking, visual facilitation, scaling, working with the org, right? So you get kind of this well-rounded person. And again, and that's a 2-year experience of being a Scrum Master to take that class. So again, we need all these things to, I think, really have effective Scrum Master hats. Okay, sales hat off now. So we want to talk about, I think what maybe is the most essential part of all of this is the idea of the GWC. Get it, want it, capacity to do it, right? First thing, get it. The Scrum Master truly understands the Scrum Master accountabilities and the Agile mindset. Like, this is the mindset part for me. I'm not really interested. I can't imagine an effective Scrum Master who has a top-down waterfall point of view, right? Command and control. That's a killer for Scrum Masters. Next, do they really want it? I think this might be the most important thing of all of it, right? Are they passionate for this position? Do they really want to be a Scrum Master? You know, when I was a new Scrum Master, I read so many books and I did all these things and I reached out to people and I went to meetups because I was passionate about becoming extraordinary and making a difference for the team and the organization. And I failed a lot, but it didn't stop me. Like, I just got right back up because, like, this is part of the process. Finally, that whole idea of, do they have the capacity to do it? So all three of these things are really important. In the build model, though, I think that get it and want it are maybe primary. And because we can train people, right? We can learn, especially if we're in like growth mindset, we can train people to do events and to figure out how to coach people and facilitate and all of those things. All right. So that's kind of our build model. Now we want to move on. Let's say we don't have that person. There is no person who wants it. Either we don't have people at all, or there's no one who's like, I never volunteer people to be a Scrum Master. That is like the most horrific thing I could ever imagine, because it just requires too much willingness to transform and train yourself and grow and develop to have someone, you know what I mean? Having a halfway Scrum Master to me is like the worst possible thing. Just because you're just damaging, I think we're damaging the view of what Scrum can be in our organizations. So let's go see if we can buy one. So yay, I have this, yay, we have budget. We have alignment from management that we can get a full-time Scrum Master. Now, oh my God, what do we do? Or more importantly, maybe, is to look at what not to do. So in getting ready for this webinar, I did a little search on Indeed.com and I looked at Scrum Master job postings. And then I cried because I looked at 10 and 8 out of the 10 had nothing to do with being an effective Scrum Master as in any relation to the Scrum Guide. So I captured some of them. I don't know if they were the worst, but they were up there, and put them in here so that you could see. So what I want you to notice is I'm going to show you a couple slides, and I highlighted in red the things that were kind of weird to me. And then I'm going to ask you about, what does this tell you about those companies? Here's the first one. Working with architecture teams as independent in Scrum. Drives, love that, drives metrics, maintains the backlog, interesting. Presents reports and holds demos, represents the business and technology, interesting. Here's another one. Market research on emerging or available product functionality, interesting. Comprehensive and strategic business cases. Executive levels for funding and scope. And then, accountable for tracking and monitoring for senior management, results of actualization of benefits. May develop project plans, we all know, yeah. And manages common resource demands and status reporting at all levels. Project plans, lovely. There's another one, drives project to completion. Schedule for all phases of the project. Communicates project status, takes meeting notes, maybe my all-time favorite, and collaborates with other project managers. So, what are the myths in these job postings? Can you guys put some things in chat? Put the things that, like, you look at those and like, what are clearly myths about that people have about what it is to be a Scrum Master? I love Alicia, you're my favorite person right now. Ugh, I wouldn't apply. Me either. Run quick. Okay, so put some stuff in there. What do you think the myths are? Right, that it's just project management. Yeah, for sure. Manager, not servant leader. Note taker reports yes to the PM only. Yet they're going to assume that Scrum Master is going to operate like a PM. Scrum Master is not a PO. Yeah, that's the opposite, right? Same as project manager, jack of all trades. Excellent. So I put up a couple. First one, Scrum Master is a manager accountable for making the team do things through driving the team. Right. Second, an effective Scrum Master must have industry experience and technology, right? Technical experience. I think some of the best Scrum Masters I know aren't technical at all, but what they are is phenomenal listeners, amazing coaches, tremendous mentors, great trainers, and awesome facilitators. And they have a systems view, and they're great problem solvers and collaborators. I mean, that's really what's essential. We have all the technical people. We don't, that's, it's not, unless we want the Scrum Master to really be the technical lead, that's a myth for me. All right, next one. A Scrum Master is there as an admin to handle JIRA updates, status updates, note-taking, and project plans. Again, I'm not sure why we want to devalue, there's nothing wrong. Admin is great. It's just not a Scrum Master job. Here's another myth. It's a little take on what we were talking about, that a great project owner will make a great Scrum Master. I've met a lot of great project managers who make horrendous Scrum Masters, right? All they do is they take all their command and control stuff that worked in that top-down hierarchical environment, and they move it over and apply it to Scrum teams to dismal results. All right, couple more. The Scrum Master is responsible for allocating all the work to the team members, right? Project manager. And here's my favorite. If we simply change the title of all of our people and the names of our meetings, we'll be doing Scrum, right? Maybe some of you have had that experience. None of these things are accurate if we're really talking about Scrum Masters the way they're described in the Scrum Guide. So we're gonna remember back. We're gonna talk about. We're gonna send you off to work in a little while, to look at taking all this information and going, what kind of job posting would we write for a Scrum Master that we were going to hire, a full-time Scrum Master? You can think about some things like, what level of certification do you want in a Scrum Master, right? Is it just the initial plus experience? Is it you want someone with that advanced or professional certification? What amount of experience do you want in your Scrum Master? What's your current Scrum implementation like? I think it is important to be really honest about what's the state of things, right? Because if we're really honest about what the state of things is, and we're thinking about where we want to go, what's the gap and where we want to go, we can start to look at how do we get a person that will be aligned with helping us go that direction, right? And then finally, what are the responsibilities you want this Scrum Master to fulfill? All right, so those are the things that I want you to think about. This is what the Mural board will look like. There's the Scrum Master action plans for your reference. There's the Scrum Master responsibilities from the Scrum Guide. And then there's these different spots for the teams to work. Kate, do you want to share the actual mural? Should we show them that actual board before we go there? Okay, so I will stop sharing. And Kate will share the actual mural.
Yeah. It's loading there. Okay, so we've got 4 teams. So each team 1 is taking this at the top left, team 2, team 3, team 4. This is all we're working on at the moment. And then Cathy will have us come back and do another exercise, and we'll be working on the bottom section on the interview questions. So at the moment, we're just working on the Scrum Master job posting for team 1, 2, 3, and 4. What is going to happen is Caden is going to put the link to this mural in the chat window, and you're going to go ahead and click on the link to the mural and have it open. And then,
Kate,
yeah.
I accidentally hit enter, and here, one sec.
Okay.
I post the thing, and it opened the breakout rooms for some reason. They're coming back.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I hit enter my key. That was so weird.
Okay.
We just want to make sure you could go and come back. So there you go.
Yeah, that was a practice run for you. We just wanted to show you how easy it was to go into the breakout rooms. So if everyone can click, Caden is going to put in the chat window the link to this mural board. And then you're going to go in, click on that, and then we will count down and go off to breakout rooms. I think in each room we should have a couple of people who had said they were experts. Oh no, that's right. They said they knew Mural a little bit. So we've got a couple of people so in each room who should know a bit about Mural, but we're clicking and dragging. You can drag the text boxes from the right here, or you can add your own text boxes. But team 1, you're going to be working in this area. Team 2, team 3, team 4. We're only doing the first part of it now, which is the Scrum Master job posting. You'll be able to share your screen within your breakout teams. If the person who is facilitating Mural for the team wants to share their screen, or everyone can open it at the same time. The goal of this conversation is not to have amazing murals, but it's the conversation around what needs to go into a really good Scrum Master job posting.
So let's just say this: if you are having problems with Mural, don't spend too much time. Just, you can like say the stuff you want to add, and somebody who's better in Mural can actually just add it. Right, that's why we did this. So because Mural's there's a learning curve, and if you have to be on Chrome and you shouldn't be on a VPN and blah blah blah. So just don't get too stopped. And hopefully the people who have a little more experience just will be happy to share their screen and be those scribes for you.
Yeah, and I think we'll have a Braintrust person in most of the rooms to help. Cathy, Caden, and I will be in the main room. So if you need help in your breakout room at all, just press the button that says need help, and one of the 3 of us will jump in and support you where we can.
So we're going to give you 10 minutes for this. You will see in Zoom, there'll be a little 10-minute, it'll keep decrementing, and then there'll be a little pop-up that says this room will close in 30 seconds.
So,
and then also when you join the breakout room, it should tell you what team you're on. So just look out for that as well.
Okay, yeah, we don't have the Mural link yet, right?
Yeah, it's in the chat window.
It's in the chat. Can you see it?
Oh, maybe I'm not seeing it.
Did you not scroll? It's all the way down.
It's at the very bottom.
I don't see it either.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm at the
Caden,
bottom.
again.
you...
Oh, you know what? Because they got sent off. That's
Yeah.
why they're not seeing it.
All right, I'm gonna make sure not to. Okay,
Do
there.
that. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
I put it there again. So
All right, any questions? All right, opening rooms.
Because time was up, so I don't know if anything's going on with the.
Well, it's 30 seconds, right? Didn't we give them 30 seconds?
Oh, I
yeah.
thought it sew like it was rolling over that. But here it comes.
Yeah, we just had to
you
get
missed us.
set up.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's it, Cathy.
All right, everyone's back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hope that was fun. So I'm going to just do, as a part of a debrief, I want to just see, we're going to just do kind of let's look through what people kind of got. Oh, I love this. We would want to make sure we had something about servant leader. Oh, certified Scrum Master with 3+ years, high performance, coach the Scrum team, Agile practices, lead the Scrum ceremonies or events, humble, check ego at the door. Isn't that great? Remove roadblocks. Let's move on over and see if there's some other things. Oh, good listener, communication and collaboration, CMS certified with 2 years on a Scrum. That's great. 5 years experience of Scrum. Guide. That's my favorite word in this whole thing. When I see in job postings that it says we're going to guide. Experience leading effective retrospectives. Form, norm, perform, Scrum maturity. Excellent. Having some experience with group dynamics and how teams form. Breakthrough for roadmaps. Working knowledge of Scrum techniques, and even this one, like time management with like those time boxes, being able to effectively help teams and people use the time boxes, be super useful. All right, let's see here. Ability to remove barriers, for sure. Connector, ability to build alignment, so important. Negotiation and influencer, excellent communications, trustworthy. A good listener we had a couple times. Looks like is that like communication? Oh, CSM minimum cert, excellent. All right. And finally, facilitation tools, great. Communicator, servant leadership mindset, understanding Agile principles and mindset, excellent. I see some certification stuff as well. Okay, all right, well, nicely done. Let me stop sharing this screen. Anything that anybody wants to share about that experience? What are you taking away from this idea of like looking at how to create a job posting for an effective Scrum Master? Anybody willing to share?
Figuring out the PC version of what you're asking for is not always easy.
Oh, figuring out the PC version. Can you say a little bit more about that? I think it might be super useful for other people on the call.
So for example, our humble but check ego at the door requirement, we were kind of struggling with a way to word that a little bit better, but that was the general idea we were trying to get across.
I think it's great. You're right. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about, let me share this again, can kind of come to some of that. So let's say we get a whole bunch of, we have a bunch of seemingly good resumes. How do we actually do the interviews to maybe assess some of those things, right? Because that, I think, Kelsey, we might find those things out in the interview rather than just to response to our job posting, right? So we're going to look at this. I'm going to go back to having us look at this 3 aspects of things we want to ensure. The first one is, do they get it? Do they have an agile mindset? So what are some questions you could think of asking someone in an interview situation that would give you a sense of whether they got it? You want to, like, people want to say it out loud? You want to shout them out?
My first question is, how do you prevent or reduce impediment that may occur between the business, that is the sponsors, and the development team?
Interesting. Okay, great. So then you can get a sense of like, are they coming at it from an agile mindset, or are they coming like with the hammer, right? Like you could get that pretty quick. Excellent. What about the next one? So obviously more, and really to think about this as you're prepping for the interview. This isn't, I don't, a lot of times we wing it, right? And I'm like, I don't wing it when I do these things because they're too important. So the next one is, how do we ask questions to make sure that they want it? They're really like, is this just another job, or are they really passionate about doing Scrum and being a Scrum Master? What do you think? What's some questions people might have asked in job interviews that have helped them understand that about the person they're interviewing? Anybody?
Well, I think it depends on what level you're looking for and what they're at. But like, I know within our company, it's how much learning are you doing on your own versus to gain more knowledge versus things that they're setting up for you.
I think that's a brilliant question. That's awesome. Because that really, if you don't have someone who is continually learning, I'm not sure what they're really doing. It's been my experience in like 12 years of kind of working in this way that I'm just, there's never a moment that I'm not actually growing and developing, right? So excellent. And then finally, capacity to do it, right? Do they have the training? Do they have the experience to actually, and the skills to do it? And here you might, I mean, these are in this way might be easier, right? Asking them about, kind of the aspects of Scrum. Now, I wanted to have time to have you guys go off and write your own interview questions, but I'm looking at the time and we're not going to have that time. So let's look at some of the ways that you might, some of the things you think of to start to plan for the Scrum Master interview, right? I would look with, does the candidate understand? And I would ask questions to say, do they understand Scrum? Do they get what a Scrum Master does? Do they get the roles? Do they understand the events? Do they know what a definition of done is? Right, all of those things. And can they give examples? Then I would look at, do they understand the role as defined in the Scrum Guide? Do they understand the key skills that make a Scrum Master effective? And can they give examples of where they might have done that? Can they meet people in the company where they are? This is so important, right? I can have a really, like someone who really knows Scrum, and they can show up and they could just make everybody wrong in the company for not actually having Scrum perfect. That is a no-go for me. This is a journey. Scrum is a journey, and mostly we get better at it because we do it bad first, right? And through inspection and adapt, we start to learn what to do that will make it better. And this idea of the Scrum Master as a guide or a shepherd that helps us, facilitates us, works with us through that process, to me is one of the most essential things. So asking those questions for sure. Can they train, mentor, coach, facilitate? Well, at the organization level and the team level, right? Do they even know what those things are? Can they give examples about that? Finally, I'm like, why do they think they're a good fit for our company and the deployment of Scrum, right? As it is. And so that they kind of, are thinking like, oh, here's what I could really provide here. And then I want to know, can they see how they will make a difference for our organization? And can they give examples of the impact they could make? Now, again, this is just a subset. I probably also would want to understand, I would hope that they would ask me questions so that I was clear that they were doing that idea in their own head. Like, is this going to be a good place for them? Are they going to thrive here? Right. So it's, I think of interviews much more like dates than interviews, I guess, right? With both sides trying to figure out, is this going to be a good match? All right, so those are some things that you can think about. Now, the other thing to think about is who should be interviewing, right? What do you guys think? Let's put in chat, who would you say is imperative that they be in this interview process? So just add, yeah. Oh, great. The team. Yay. Yeah. The team for sure. Yes, if there's Agile coaches, if there's HR, that might be the gate screener. Now you might go do some work with HR to make sure that they actually aren't screening out good candidates for you, right? You might have to do that work. It would be part of my plan for interviewing. Who are the gatekeepers? Make sure they're going to get me the people that I want, and then having the team and other key people they're going to have to work with to interview them. All right, and yeah, including the product owner and the developers, like that whole Scrum team. Okay. Any questions? Oopsie, questions? Or let's take a quick, I don't have so much time left. So let's take a quick look at what it might be like if we're not going to go for full time, we're going to go for short term. Right here we are down at Borrow. 3 to 6 months, maybe we get just an Agile coach. For here, I think what we're looking at is maybe we're going to get employee referrals. Like, do you know someone who's really great and we could just bring them in? Maybe we'll call an agency, right? Someone who's going to shorten that whole interview process for us, because they're going to vet all those people and they're only going to send us the people who have all of those qualifications. Maybe we'll call a partner like Braintrust. We work with so many people. Often people call us and say, hey, can you vet some people, get us some people? We also, on the Scrum Alliance website now, there's a find a coach. These are team coaches and certified enterprise coaches, but for a short assignment might be a perfect person, especially if you're working to have to like bring people up or have the organization understand why we need a more long-term solution. You will for sure have to make sure that, you're going to hand off to an agency what is that you're looking for. So that job description, and you're probably still going to go through an interview process. So I think it can shorten it in terms of you having to collect all of those, all of the candidates through the job description and resume process. Are you still going? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do a reality check. What if you're in the company that's like, no budget, you don't need a Scrum Master, whatever. They're just, filling out Jira tickets and getting you coffee. What are you going to tell them right now? Like after the stuff we've talked about, put in chat things that you're going to tell them. I see deep thinking going on. Increases productivity, which translates to money saved.
Mhm.
That's actually true, right? Explain what a Scrum Master does and set up a meeting with Braintrust. Okay, thank you, Spencer. You're getting an extra special star. That it's critical to the role of the success of our team. Excellent. Yeah. And then is your team collaborating? David, Scrum is easy to understand and difficult to master. I love that. It's also critical to the success of the product. Yeah, these are all really good things. One of the things that I really think about is I'm starting to look at where is the pain in our organization with our productivity. I love that. That's great. Is your team delivering the product? In the end, we'll be more efficient as a company, which will be more profitable in the end.
Mhm.
So again, kind of coming back, like, what's the pain? What's not working about Scrum, about our implementation, about our capacity to deliver? Where are we missing that? Is the company achieving the result they set out to achieve with Scrum, right? Is the productivity extraordinary, or is it just okay? Scrum doesn't really solve problems, right? As we know, it makes them really visible, which after we get through the annoyance of actually having to deal with the dysfunction, we actually can solve things. That often really happens because we have a Scrum Master who's making things visible for us and looking there. So there's a lot of this stuff now. Making a case is interesting, right? I put here, I did some research and I found some really interesting articles that I think might be useful for you. Allocation, this case for a dedicated Scrum Master, and Mitch Lacey's the case for full-time Scrum Master, both have some interesting stuff about how you might start to get data and quantify, literally with numbers, what difference to productivity a Scrum Master makes. And there's a few caveats, right? If we're doing total Scrum butt and we're not doing Scrum at all, this will be a little bit more difficult. But I think this is an interesting place to kind of leave you. So you'll get this and take a look at some of those things as you're looking at the other stuff that you said. But okay. So this is just, here we are back again to our whole flow chart, and we've kind of like gone through how to handle each different part of that. So questions, thoughts, comments? Maybe we've just delivered everything so perfectly, it's all making total sense to you. A girl can dream.
Question.
Okay, go ahead. Question.
If you have the resources, this is just hypothetical, obviously. If you have the resources within your company, but you also financially can go after somebody who has experience instead of building, what would you think is the best way to go?
Well, then I might look at I would probably go for it, because then that person could help you build more.
Go for it as in hire somebody experienced or use somebody already within the company?
No. I mean, I might actually, so I'd ask a few questions, like, again, how quickly do we need someone, right?
Mhm.
So I might get a coach. Would it be better to get a coach who could actually on the court train other people? Because we're probably expanding usually, right? Or likely we have more than one Scrum team. So if you are looking at a coach, that person often can do the training, the mentoring, like really of those potential Scrum Masters, if you have some people who are interested, right? I think that might be one of the ways I would look at, like, kind of what's my goal long term? That's how I would like first start. What's my goal long term? Is it just to have one Scrum Master? Is it to have multiple? Is it to really, do I need a jumpstart of Scrum in our organization? If I can get a more experienced person, then I'm probably going to get a better shot at that, and I can still start to build that Scrum Master at the same time. Does that answer your question? Or at least give you a place to think about?
Yeah, we already have Scrum Masters within the company, but we need more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, do you get somebody from the outside or do you try to build more from within? Is kind of why I asked about it.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways you have good problems to solve,
Mhm.
right? Okay, let's take a look at, we just want to remind you that, oh, did I miss this thing? Oh, wait, let me go back. We just want to remind you about these opportunities to earn SEUs, Don't forget, if you go on the Braintrust website, this is worth 1 hour or 1 SEU or PDU. And on our website, we have all of these things recorded. So if you need more, take a look on that. You're at whatever level you're at, the SEUs required over a 2-year period are here. And then we have some offers. We have a book on our website, CMS for the Rest of Us, and that's available. And
And actually, Cathy, and can I jump in there? Because
please.
Is actually, the book has been very successful. It's called Scrum for the Rest of Us. But we've had a lot of clients recently ask us, we know your classes are not for IT people. Everyone attends the classes. So the material is neutral, but people in the class get very specific about IT and technical issues. So we are going to have a certified Scrum Master class for no IT jargon and no IT questions. And back to what Kelsey was asking, how do we politically correctly say, hey, IT people, this is not the class for you? So Michael, our marketing team, is working out how to say that correctly, but that is one of them. So in, I believe, May, June and July, there will be classes for maybe your HR team needs to get trained, maybe your finance team needs to be trained. Spring special coming up, April and May, a certified Scrum Master class for the virtual live online is $450. And for those of you who are looking for advanced certifications, if you buy an ACSM or a CSP Scrum Master, then you get the certified Scrum Master for $100. So if I can get Cathy to take us to the ticket out so we can get that in.
Yes.
Okay, so 2 things here. What are you taking away today to do differently as a result of what Cathy has taught us today? And if you don't mind, put that in the chat window. And then Caden is also going to put in the chat window a survey link. So please give us some feedback and let us know what future sessions you might like to see. So take a minute. What are you taking away to do differently? Fill in the survey link and ask Cathy to stay online for a couple of minutes to answer any additional questions. We are thinking about repeating this series of webinars that we've done, the build, borrow, and buy, and do we really need for product owner for the month of May. So keep an eye on the website and the emails for that. If you're not on the email list, you can join the email list. And then Mia, you were asking about the book. I'll make sure the link to the book is sent out in the follow-up class information, so or webinar information. So we'll send link to the recording, link to the book, link to the slides, PDF of the build, borrow, buy flow chart, and the Scrum Master action plan. That'll all be in the follow-up email that you'll get either later today or Monday.
Excellent.
So,
thanks, Kate.
So thank you, Cathy. And if you've put in the chat window what you can do differently and you've done the survey link, feel free to escape for your Friday. If you have any questions, feel free to hang on and put the questions to Cathy.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone.
And thanks, everyone, for participating and you're listening. It's really a pleasure to be with all of you today.